Hola a todos. Buenas tardes, buenos días, buenas noches, depending on which time you're watching this. Pero espero que todos estén bien. ¿Cómo estás? Yo estoy bien, estoy muy bien. Gracias por estar aquí hoy. Thanks for being here, guys. Hoy vamos a hablar de los artículos definidos y los artículos indefinidos, which are our definite and indefinite articles, which are used to identify nouns. Y también, también vamos a hablar de los sustantivos. If you have something that's substantive, it's a thing, right? It's made of substance. Un sustantivo is a noun. So let's get right to our grammar. I've also provided you with the PowerPoint below this lecture, as well as some lecture notes to follow along with, so that you guys can keep track of what's going on while I am doing the lecture. So let's get into it. Section 1.1, we're going to talk about nouns and articles today. So you might not know what an article is yet, but I guarantee you that you've used them in the past in English, okay? So a noun, obviously we all know what a noun is, right? Person, place, or thing, idea, which an idea is a thing, right? So a noun is a word that's used to identify people, animals, places, things, or ideas, right? Something that you can call by name, right? The cell phone, a pen, right? Those are nouns including an article. So the cell phone would be a definite article, and a pen would be an indefinite article, a versus the. And we'll get to that. We'll explain a little bit more of the differences about that. Okay, now unlike English, all Spanish nouns, even those that refer to non-living things, have a gender, okay? Now, we don't really have this concept in English, okay? Because we're not talking about the sex of a word or a person or a thing, although nouns that refer to females or males generally correspond with the articles, but it's just a way to identify the words and to be able to compartmentalize and organize the language. So it's not necessarily that water is a feminine thing, right? Because it's actually el agua, okay? Or that a map is a feminine thing because it's el mapa, right? So it's not really talking about gender per se, but a way to organize these words and to differentiate between other words. For example, we have the word papa, right? So that has several meanings, right? Also, papa, which we'll talk about accents further on in the chapter. But if you say el papa, right, that is the Pope, el papa. If you say la papa, it's the best food there is, the potato, right? So articles are very important in distinguishing words and helping us organize our language, okay? Now, so like I was saying, unlike English, all Spanish nouns, even those that refer to non-living things, have a gender. That is, they are considered either masculine or feminine, not necessarily in the traditional sense that we think, but that's just the way they're organized. As in English, nouns in Spanish have a plural, or excuse me, also have number meaning. I'm sorry. Nouns in Spanish also have number, meaning that they're either singular or plural, right? The cell phone, the cell phones, a pen, some pins, right? Okay, so we have the same kind of thing in English, although we do not have the gender of our articles. Okay, moving on. Now, so let's talk about nouns that refer to living things, and these are typically easier to identify with a certain gender. Because if you have a masculine noun that refers to someone who is a man, you're going to typically have it ending in a masculine ending as well with a masculine article. So it would be el hombre. Everyone repeat after me. All the Spanish I'm saying, make sure you try and repeat after me. El hombre, the man. Remember that H is silent. La mujer. Remember, that J is like our H. La mujer. That would be the woman. So, of course, things that specifically refer to someone in a certain gender are usually along those lines. But we'll see an exception to that here at the bottom. And as I'm going over this, make sure you're filling in the chart that is provided in your lecture notes. That way you are able to get these words and these vocabulary down. Okay, now we have nouns ending in O. For example, el chico. We know most often, almost always, there are exceptions to the rules, but most often when you see a noun ending in O, it's going to be masculine. So if el chico, la chica. So if it's ending in A, it's going to be a feminine noun and talking about a female. So la chica is the girl, el chico is the boy. And we have el pasajero, el pasajero. So as you can see, they're delineated along gender. Okay, so we have el pasajero, la pasajera, right? La pasajera is ending in A, so it'd be a feminine noun. Now, let's go on to nouns ending in OR. We have el conductor, the male driver. El profesor, yo, no? El profesor. If I were female, I would call myself la profesora, right? La profesora. Muy bien. Now, we also have nouns the same construction, but they end in A. Not el conductor, but la conductora. Y la profesora. El profesor, masculine. La profesora, feminine. Okay, muy bien. We don't have to make that distinction in English, so it can take some getting used to. We also have nouns ending in ista, and these are kind of interesting because the ista does not change depending on the gender of the person. So we have nouns like artista, turista, futbolista, football player, right? So things ending in ista are usually talking about someone in their occupation or what they're doing, right? The tourist, the artist, the football player. Okay, so for masculine nouns ending in ista, all we have to do is change our article, el turista or un turista, which we'll see indefinite articles coming up soon. And then we also have, for feminine nouns, we just have to change that article to la turista or la artista. Muy bien. Okay, now generally nouns that refer to males like el hombre are masculine, like I was saying, while nouns that refer to females like la mujer are feminine. Okay, pretty cut and dry there. Okay, now many nouns that refer to male beings end in O or OR, and their corresponding feminine forms end in A or ORA, respectively, like we just saw on the previous page. Okay, so we have el conductor. If you wanted to make it feminine, la conductora. Okay, la profesora, if you were to make it masculine, it would be el profesor. Muy bien. Okay, now the masculine and feminine forms of nouns that end in ista, like turista and artista, like I was saying, are the same. So gender is indicated by the article el, which would be masculine, or the article la, which would be feminine. Now, some other nouns have identical masculine and feminine forms, such as el joven, la joven, el estudiante, la estudiante. So nouns ending in consonants or in E typically do not change, right? Just like ista. The only thing that will change to identify male or female or masculine or feminine would be the article. Muy bien. Okay, we also have some nouns that refer to non-living things. So let's start on our masculine nouns ending in O. And these are vocabulary items that you will need to learn for the vocabulary quiz on Wednesday, as well as for the test that will be due on Sunday of next week. So here we have masculine nouns ending in O. We have el cuaderno. El cuaderno. Make sure you're repeating after me. El cuaderno. That's the notebook. Not like the movie. El diario. El diario, the diary. El diccionario. El número. Now, if you notice there with my pronunciation, it was a little bit different, okay, because I'm accentuating, hence the accent, the pronunciation of that first syllable right there. So usually an accent is either going to tell us where we need to pronounce something, that something is an interrogative word, meaning a question word, or that it is used to differentiate between words that are the same. For example, like I was just saying, el papa, el papá. El papá has an accent on the final A, P-A-P-A with an accent. El papá, that's your father, the dad, right? But el papa would be the pope. So accents and articles are very useful in Spanish and are very necessary. Okay, now feminine nouns ending in A. We have la computadora, la computadora, la cosa, la escuela, la maleta, la palabra. ¿Ok? Entonces, estas palabras, palabra means word, so these words, estas palabras terminan en A. They end in A, right? So let's go through the vowels real quick that are a part of Spanish. I know you've looked at the alphabet already, but our vocals, as they're called in Spanish, vocales, or our vowels in English, are A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. Okay? There's a song that helps you remember it. A, E, I, O, U. Okay, I'm not going to sing it because I'm a terrible singer and I'll get embarrassed. But there's a lot of those mnemonic devices that can help you remember. So the pronunciation is not going to be the same as we have in English, right? So if we're thinking about A, the letter A, it can have a lot of different pronunciations in English, right? You look at all the different, here's a good example of O. Bomb, A, womb, U, comb, O. Same spelling, same general idea, 3 different pronunciations. The good thing is that in Spanish, we will not be required to do that. If you see something that is pronounced the same every time. So thank you, Spanish, for that. Okay, very good. Moving on. A, E, I, O, U. Those are our vowels. All right, now we have masculine nouns ending in MA. El problema. El programa. Now, although these end in the letter A, which would typically clue us into a feminine noun, right? This goes to show you that there are some exceptions to the rules, right? El problema. And this is because these words actually came from Greek, and they were not part of the Latin lexicon, and that is why they were given the masculine ending. El problema, el programa. Okay, very good. Now we have feminine nouns ending in CION. Okay, la lección, la bendición, la conversación. Anything ending in CION is typically going to be feminine. La lección, la conversación. Muy bien. Ok, también tenemos algunos sustantivos masculinos, masculine nouns, que terminan en S, ¿no? Ok, por ejemplo, el autobús. El autobús, as you can see, my pronunciation, the emphasis is on the last syllable. Okay, el autobús, because we have an accent there. El autobús. El país, same thing there. We have an accent breaking up the diphthong that would normally occur if it were not there. We talked about diphthongs. If you said it without the accent, it would be el país, but we have to separate those 2 syllables to say el país. Muy bien. And then finally, we have some feminine nouns ending in dad, right? Dad. Okay, it's not like dad, right? Or it's not dod. It's a very soft D, almost like you're saying a T. Comunidad, nacionalidad. It's very soft, not our our hard Ds, right? We want to say nacionalidad, not nacionalidad. Okay, muy bien. La comunidad, la nacionalidad. Excelente. Okay, now as shown above, certain noun endings are strongly associated with a specific gender. So you can generally use those rules to determine if a noun is masculine or feminine, but not always, right? And because the gender of nouns that refer to non-living things cannot be determined by foolproof rules, it's a good practice to go ahead and memorize those along with your words. So when you're writing out your flashcards or however you do, whatever you do to memorize vocabulary, go ahead and write those articles on there. But write the plurals of each word. Write the definite and indefinite articles of all the words on there, and that will help you go ahead and learn those as part of the word, right? They're kind of inseparable from those words. You will use them without articles. However, the articles are very important in determining the gender and number. Okay, so you should memorize those genders of each noun you learn, and it's really helpful to learn each noun with its corresponding article. El for masculine, la for feminine, los for masculine plural, las for feminine plural, and we'll look at the indefinite articles shortly. Okay, another reason to memorize the gender of every noun is that there are common exceptions to the rules of gender. So like we were saying, el programa, el problema. We also have words like el mapa or el día that should appear to be feminine, but they are masculine, in fact. Just like la mano, right? Hand. Okay, it ends in O, but it is actually feminine. So there are exceptions to the rules. Now, Let's talk about the plural of nouns. Now, to form a plural, it's fairly simple in Spanish, but there are a couple of cases that are unique. But typically, if you're going to have a word that ends in a vowel, you simply add an S on there. For example, el chico, if you want to make it plural, los chicos. Now, let's think back. How do we say the girl? If el chico is the boy, how do you say the girl? Bien, la chica, right? Plural of that would be las chicas, okay? So for nouns ending in a vowel, we will add an S. Very simple on that front. Okay, but for nouns that end in a consonant, we will add ES, okay? Fairly straightforward. Nacionalidad, las nacionalidades, right? El país, los países, okay? Muy bien. And for nouns that end in Z, we will change the Z to a C and then add ES. Por ejemplo, for example, por ejemplo, el lápiz, no? The pencil would be los lápices. Excelente. So that Z on lápiz will change to lápices. Muy bien, muy bien. Okay, now in general, when a singular noun has an accent mark on the last syllable, the accent is dropped from the plural form, but not always. If you can see here, países, when it's plural, you maintain that accent to separate the diphthong. But if you don't have one there, lección, okay, that's on the last syllable there. Lección, lecciones, right? We're taking away that accent because the pronunciation rules are in Spanish that if words ending in a consonant, S, if their second to last syllable is pronounced, then you do not need an accent. But we'll get into more of that. Don't worry about it. And then we have el autobús. The plural would be los autobuses, no? All right, now, so we're going to use the masculine plural form to refer to a group that includes both males and females. Unfortunately, ladies, Spanish is very sexist in terms of this. Even if there's 1 million females in a room and there's one male, it would still be masculine. This is a shame. I don't understand. However, so if we had one pasajero and two pasajeras, which would be one male passenger and two, or we had un pasajero y dos pasajeras, perdón, en español, that would be one male passenger and two female passengers, but you still would say tres pasajeros. If there is a male in the group, you will keep pasajeros, right? Dos chicos y dos chicas, cuatro chicos, okay? Now, let's talk about our articles. Now, as you know, in English, we often use definite articles and indefinite articles before our nouns, right? Okay, going back to the phone, we say the cell phone, right? And it's called a definite article because you definitely know you're referring to it. It's a definite thing. It's something that you have in your hand. You're asking for something specific. For example, if you were to say someone, go bring me a pencil, okay? All right, any old pencil will work. If you say a pencil, I'm just going to bring you any old pencil. But if you said, bring me the pencil, you're definitely referring to one type of pencil, right? Or one specific pencil. So the definite articles are something that we have context of, we know, and our indefinite articles are going to refer to something unknown or unspecified, okay? Now, unlike English, Spanish articles vary in form because they have to agree in gender and number with the nouns they modify, okay? So here are definite articles, and this is the, right? To say the cell phone, the computers, the professor, the student, or the students, looking at you, that would be our definite article, okay? In English, it's the, okay? So Spanish has 4 forms of that because we have masculine nouns, feminine nouns, and also plural for each, right? So we have masculine nouns, feminine nouns, and plurals and singular for each, right? That's why there's 4 definite articles and 4 indefinite articles. So in the masculine side, if we're talking about a dictionary or the dictionary, if we're talking about the dictionary, it would be el diccionario. We're going to talk about more than one, the dictionaries, los diccionarios, the dictionaries. Okay, if we were to say la computadora, the computer, to make it plural, las computadoras. Now, if you look at here, if you look right here on the articles, they follow a trend, right? Except for the singular masculine article, right? If it were like the others, it would be lo, okay? But it's el diccionario and los diccionarios, Okay? La computadora, las computadoras. Muy bien. Now we also have our indefinite articles, and this is something that's undefined or unspecified. I definitely don't care if you bring me another pencil, right? I want a pencil. I don't want the pencil. I'm just looking for a pencil. So that would be our indefinite article. You would say, I need a pencil, okay? So Spanish has 4 forms of this also, masculine, feminine, and 2 of each, singular and plural, right? That are equivalent to the English indefinite article, which according to context can be a, an, or some, okay? Now, we use indefinite articles to refer to unspecified persons or things, right? So if you say to your friend, bring me a pencil, you're not specifying the pencil, right? That's when you would use an indefinite or undefined article, a or some. In Spanish, for passenger or for a singular masculine noun, if you're wanting to say a boy or a passenger, you would say un pasajero. Un pasajero. For plural, you would say unos pasajeros. For our feminine form, if we're talking about a photograph, fotografía, una fotografía, ¿verdad? Or unas fotografías, some photographs. Okay, un pasajero, unos pasajeros, una fotografía, unas fotografías. Okay, very good, guys. So that does it for lesson 1.1. Thank you so much for paying attention y nos vemos pronto. Adiós.